At first, I just wanted to make a top 10 anime opening video because I hate myself and I like wasting time editing the music to fade in and out in order to avoid copyright claims, since Content ID doesn't recognize fair use. Well, sorry, but I have been burned before. However, while I was working on my list, I kept adding and adding to the prologue disclaimers about how these are not necessarily my favorites, and explaining that an opening needs to do some things to be actually good. And then I thought, fuck it. So openings. They are a thing, right? They play right before the show starts, and most people skip them because they are binging the show. Yet somehow they bring a jillion views, and any anime watcher can mumble their way through one or two of them. They were initially used as a way to frame the show from start to finish and show names of people, but throughout the years they have evolved into something more. Now, an anime with a good opening can hook viewers or turn them away forever. But what makes an anime opening good for the show? How can an opening enhance the experience of a viewer and as such make its anime even better? In order to answer that question, I have developed the illustrious Server 6 criteria. Now ideally, a perfect anime opening will check all 6 of them, but checking 3 or 4 does get you to the end zone. So it's pretty clear that we will be talking major league openings, not stuff like this or this. A perfect opening needs a dope song so that you pay attention to it. It needs to encapsulate the tones and main themes of the show in order to let you understand the general idea of the show and hype you up to watch it. It also needs to have minimal to no spoilers, crazy I know, and have good animation. And finally, it should have only the bare necessities when it comes to credits. So let's take a look at Tokyo Ghoul's second season opening. We got this albino K-pop idol having his mask put on and taken off while tripping on some cheap LSD and being sad about it because he was ripped off by his dealer, obviously. The point is, there's not much to go on there. Let's see how it fares. Oof, not that well. I guess we did need a rock bottom in our scale. It fails spectacularly in the scale, since the only things it does right is not spoil the show and not show too many credits. Everything else has gone downhill. I do get what they were trying to pull. It was to be like a minimalistic take, show as little as possible so as to not give too many info about the plot while still conveying the feeling of the show. But they went too far. Take a look at Mirai Nikki's opening. Only a handful of characters are clearly visible in the sequence, and most of them are only shown for a second. Instead, we see the items they use, the representation of plot points. I remember while watching this anime, I would understand the opening a bit better with each episode I watched. Oh, so that's what it means. A decomposing knife, of course. Seriously though, all of them do make sense in the end. So in conclusion,
it's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece.
Overlord. It has a popular opening, so statistically that means if not anything else, the song is dope. And it is. Well, kinda dope. Not in my personal top 10, but still pretty great. So that's a ding. Let's see about the rest. Pretty good actually, but it does spoil several plot points and shows some fights that are supposed to come as a surprise. So it's a big oof right there. But how does it compare to a legendary opening? Well, this one is almost perfect. and any imperfections are covered by the impeccable animation and the unbelievably hyping song. Even the spoilers are done in a fashion that are not that noticeable and can be mistaken for hyping scenes that are not necessarily canon. The important thing is that it is successful in doing what an opening is supposed to do. But what if? What if there was an opening that reached an even higher score? When talking about such high-level openings, it's hard to compare them without nitpicking. Obviously, they are both very close to perfect. But excluding the very small spoilers, Attack on Titan's opening doesn't really convey the emotional turmoil that the characters face throughout the series. Instead, it sacrifices that very aspect to reach the peak of hype-ness. Fullmetal, on the other hand, has a song and animation sequence that reveals deep layers of the anime within seconds. When it comes to simply pumping you up, Guren no Yumiya wins every day. But Yuichigen, in the end of the day, is the most complete anime opening I have ever watched. But not all anime series are the same. Some are a bit different. A bit weird. How do you portray an anime that is all over the place? How do you show what an anime that jumps around the ridiculous and the serious is all about? Well, like this. But not quite. One Punch Man's opening is one of the most popular ones. As expected, it has a catchy and hype song, the animation is on point, there are no spoilers or annoying credits, yet, after watching it, does it really feel like it summarized the feel of the anime? Does watching the series and then watching the opening give you the exact same impression? The opening song is like an anthem. It celebrates the epicness of the anime and the stellar animation. But what about the silliness? How is the gold comedy of One Punch Man reflected on the opening? It's not. But what if? If you ever wanna know what Gintama is about, just watch this opening. It's fun at the beginning and ridiculous to the core. It doesn't take itself seriously, even for a moment. But when the chorus comes, it reveals that under all this silliness, there's an epic anime hiding ready to pop out. And just like the opening, the anime switches from comedy to drama and action multiple times, even throughout the duration of a single episode. It's an anime that doesn't do serious plotlines until it does. Spectacularly, if I might add. Right about now, I realize I'm pushing it a bit. Bashing some of the best openings out there, also psyching Gintama's dick way too much. Okay, I'll stop. It's crazy good though, you should watch it. Or wait until I make the guide to watching it. Anyway, I'm not saying these openings are bad, by any stretch of the imagination. Well, the Tokyo Ghoul one is pretty bad. But other than that, I'm just saying that some of them missed some things. Creating the perfect opening is pretty much impossible, if you think about it. An opening can be very enjoyable even without serving its purpose. But in order to help the series as much as possible, it needs to adhere to the legendary Server 6 criteria, distinguishing quality since 1886.
I wanna be the very best.
She 60% of the time, it works every time.
Okay, it's childish, can't be no homegirl dropping like the NASDAQ. Move white girls like this coat up my ass crack. Move black girls, cause man, fuck it, I'll do either. I love pussy, I love bitches, dude, I should be running Peter in Adidas with some short shorts. B-O-O all over me, my green is where it's supposed to be. Your green is in my grocery